Hello everyone and good afternoon. My name's Don Arleth and coming to you live from Warsaw, you're watching World News. The EU will propose a full prohibition of Russian LNG imports by January of 2027, said European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen during her official announcement of the 19th package of EU sanctions, long awaited for by Ukraine. This package will also include measures targeting Russian banks, restrictions on Russian access to technology, and sanctions against individuals involved in war crimes against Ukrainian children.
We are banning imports of Russian LNG into European markets. It is time to turn off the tap. We are prepared for this. We have been saving energy, we have been diversifying supplies, we've been investing in low-carbon sources of energy like never before. And today these efforts pay off. Then we have just lowered the crude oil price cap to $47.6. To strengthen enforcement, we are now sanctioning 118 additional vessels from the shadow fleet. In total, more than 560 vessels are now listed under EU sanctions. Major energy trading companies, Rosneft and Gazprom Neft, will now be on a full transaction ban.
New Swedish military report prepares the country for total war. It concludes both its military and civilians have to be prepared for at least 3 months of continuous fighting in Europe at all times, so that it can prepare for further escalation of possible conflict.
The analysis assumes 7 possible defensive scenarios in case of war and set the military agenda for the country until the year 2030. The focus of the report is on creating defenses for 3 months that would be the foundation for the further development of the military in the case of prolonged war. The document also emphasizes the key role of NATO in supporting the Swedish defenses. Alongside the Baltic countries, the country would act as a key hub for logistics, creating a buffer zone between Russia and some other European members. It is one of many steps Stockholm has recently undertaken to prepare for war, as the government increased military spending and reintroduced draft over the past years.
In another provocation, 3 Russian MiG-31 fighter jets entered Estonian airspace near Vendlu Island on Friday morning without permission and remained there for nearly 12 minutes. The aircraft had no flight plans and their transponders were switched off. At the time of the violation, they also lacked two-way radio communication with Estonian air traffic control. Estonia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned Russians chargé d'affaires to lodge a protest and deliver a diplomatic note regarding the airspace violation. And moving on now, in Berlin, thousands of residents were forced to leave their homes overnight after the discovery of unexploded World War II bomb in the Spree River. Authorities carried out one of the city's largest evacuations in recent years to allow specialists to make sure that the device no longer poses a threat.
Police sealed off the area around Fischerinsel on Thursday evening after divers identified what appeared to be a wartime bomb lodged near the Mulheim Dam lock. With transport too risky, officials ordered the evacuation, which impacted nearly 10,000 residents.
At the moment, the Berlin police, together with the fire department, the district office and the public transport authority, are evacuating an area 500 meters around Fischerinsel, the site of a possible World War II bomb.
Loudspeaker announcements and door-to-door visits urged people to leave their homes. Emergency shelters were set up at the Mitte District Town Hall, where the German Red Cross provided assistance. Buses ran through the night to transport evacuees.
As soon as the evacuation measures have been completed, the unexploded ordnance disposal team and divers will inspect the bomb with the difficult challenge of working in the depth, darkness and silt, and then defuse the bomb so everyone can return home.
By early Friday, the evacuation was complete, and divers were able to confirm that the device was no longer a danger. Public transport was largely unaffected, though the U2 line was interrupted for several hours. Shipping traffic along the Spree was also halted.
The U.S. has vetoed a draft United Nations Security Council resolution for the 6th time. The draft demands an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in Gaza. The document also calls for the release of all captives held by Hamas, as well as lifting of restrictions on humanitarian aid into Gaza.
France reiterates its opposition to any plan of occupation of the Gaza Strip and forced displacement of its population. It calls on Israel to put an end to this destructive campaign and to resume as quickly as possible negotiations with a view to a ceasefire and the release of all the hostages. China is deeply disappointed by the result of today's vote. The conflict in Gaza has been dragging on for nearly 2 years, causing an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe. Time and again, the Security Council has attempted to take action only to be forcefully blocked by the United States. We cannot help but ask how many more innocent lives must be lost before a ceasefire can be achieved in Gaza.
This draft resolution represents the bare minimum that humanity, legality, and morality dictate. It is deeply regrettable and painful that it has been blocked, preventing the Security Council from playing its rightful role in the face of these atrocities and to protect civilians in the face of genocide.
We would like to thank the United States for showing leadership and moral conviction by vetoing this biased resolution.
Now we turn to Serbia, and the High Court in Novi Sad has rejected the prosecutor's request to order a pre-trial detention for 13 suspects over the railway station canopy collapse on November 1st of 2023, which killed 16 people and injured 1. The court's decision places Goran Vesic, the former Serbian construction minister, under house arrest and extends the measure for the remaining 12 suspects by 3 months. The court has placed Vesic under house arrest with electronic monitoring, banning him from using phones and the internet and from receiving guests in his apartment for 3 months. The suspects have been charged with allowing the Novi Sad rail station to be operational despite ongoing construction and no building permit. Additionally, there were irregularities and neglect in the design and renovation process. In parallel, former construction minister Goran Vesic, former Minister Tomislav Momirovic, and others are still under investigation for suspected corruption in the Serbian-Hungarian railway project, allegedly causing $115 million in budget losses. Since the tragedy, student-led protests have blocked the university buildings and are calling for full transparency and the release of documents related to the station's reconstruction, as well as snap elections. Romania has decided to address growing concerns over the dangers of electric scooters. The death of a teenager in Piatra Neamț has prompted the city to ban rental scooters altogether. National data shows accidents involving electric scooters have surged dramatically, with police warning of serious safety risks.
In Piatra Neamț, northern Romania, electric scooters will no longer be allowed on city streets. The city canceled its contract with the company that rents them after the death of a 15-year-old teen last week.
As a result of the way these scooters are used and the increasing number of accidents, we decided to ban them.
Authorities in the country stress that the tragedy highlights a broader problem. According to national statistics, accidents involving electric scooters have doubled since last year. 1,618 people have been injured so far this year, resulting in 7 deaths. Officials say most crashes are caused by the riders themselves. Many are children or young adults using scooters without helmets or proper equipment, often on busy streets.
They can be very dangerous, especially if you ride on the road, between the cars.
Romanian police warn that the trend is nationwide. Dealers and safety advocates argue for stricter rules, including mandatory training, registration, and insurance.
A course with a graduation certificate would be mandatory for them. Another big problem is the registration and civil liability insurance of these vehicles.
For now, other Romanian cities, including Brașov and Constanța, have already restricted or banned rental scooters as part of a wider European debate over whether convenience is worth the growing cost in lives and injuries.
And that concludes this edition of World News. Thank you for joining us, and stay with us for more, because News in Depth is coming up next.